Hello and welcome to Canvas, the Niger-Delta Roundtable, where I discuss the future of this region blessed with hydrocarbon resources. Every week, we give time to reflecting on topics relevant to the development of the Niger-Delta and her people. This episode is no different. I'm here once again to focus on how to take the region to a more promising future. The podcast is sponsored by the operator of the NNPC, Renaissance Total Energies Ajib joint venture, Renaissance Africa Energy Company Limited, headquartered in Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining. I'm Adedayo Ilushakin. A topic for this episode is Give Blood, Save Lives. This episode is dedicated to a global movement of compassion, courage, and community. June 14th marks World Blood Donor Day, and this year's theme is Give Blood, Give Hope. Together we save lives. It's a powerful reminder that every drop of donated blood carries more than just oxygen. It carries hope. Hope for recovery, hope for survival, and hope for a future. In this episode, we'll talk about the life-saving impact of blood donation, hear from an expert, stories of those whose lives were changed by it, and explore how much or how each of us can be part of this very important mission. Because when we give blood, we're not just giving a part of ourselves, we're giving someone a chance to live, to heal, and to hope. So, whether you're a regular donor, someone considering it for the very first time, or simply curious about how it all works, stay with us. Again, this topic on Canvas for this week, Give Blood, Save Lives. And my guest is Dr. Linda Anucha Dublin-Green. My guest, Dr. Linda Anucha Dublin-Green, is a haematologist with the River State University Teaching Hospital. She's also head of department at the River State University. Dr. Dublin-Green, hello to you. Welcome to Canvas, the Niger-Delta Roundtable.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
It's such a pleasure to be here. I hope the cameras are going to capture your shirt, the inscription on it.
I hope so.
This is your camera. So,
okay.
So you have Give the Gift of Life Blood Drive. So, and the reason you're wearing that is because we're recording this episode just about the period when we have World Blood Donor Day. And from the studio today, I gather that you have an event on World Blood Donor Day that you're going to attend to.
Yes.
And being a hematologist, let's start from that. I know for every medical practitioner, blood is important, blood is key, and even non-medical personnel, obviously, blood is key. Blood is everywhere. It's in my veins. It's in everyone's veins.
Yeah.
But for you, blood holds a special place.
Exactly.
Why is that? So what's hematology? What does it mean to be a hematologist, and why is blood so important to you?
Thank you so much. Can I remember your name now?
Dayo.
Dayo, all right. Thank you so much, Dayo. It's my pleasure to be here, like I said. Being a hematologist, like the name implies, hema, it's blood, the study of blood. So I put it that the practice of the use of blood, blood. So they call us the blood doctors. We are the blood doctors. So we specialize in the use of blood, the illnesses in the layman terms, okay, that's blood dyscrasias. Let me put it that way. Blood dyscrasias mean I'm speaking big English. Diseases that deal with blood. How do I mean? Like the leukemias, you have the anemias. Either there's a shortage, that's like in the case of an anemia, that's shortage of red cell, in the body, or leukemia, which is excess white cells in the body. That is a cancerous condition. So it could be malignant, actually it can be non-malignant, and then you have not just blood, but, we call them secondary organs where you can still have blood being stored. Let me put it this way. So you have the lymph nodes, so even the lymphomas, there are different diseases, that are primarily blood, and so we deal on all of that, or our study is all about that, and the treatment.
What is the significance or the essence of a World Blood Donor Day?
Okay, World Blood Donor Day, like we know, it's celebrated every June 14th, which is today. And that's where you can see my T-shirts. I'm wearing one, like you had said. We are celebrating it in the hospital, River State University Teaching Hospital today. It's a day where we create awareness on the need for safe blood, on the need to give somebody blood that is safe. And also to thank our donors. They are our heroes. When I mean donors, the voluntary donors, unpaid donors, we want to thank them for what they are doing, and we hope more people will enroll or join us in saving lives.
All right.
So it's celebrated everywhere, celebrated worldwide.
Why is blood donation so important, so crucial?
Because without it, you can't survive. Blood carries oxygen that you need. You said it. Okay, it carries the nutrients. You need it for the heart pumps blood. Without blood, there is no human without blood. So it's very important and very crucial.
Okay. The life-saving part of it, because once again, blood is everywhere. I'm saying that contextually now. I'm not suggesting that we're swimming in it. But one might even say, in a manner of speaking, was in the sense that it's everywhere in us. It's all around us. So if it's that commonplace, in the sense that every human has, even animals have blood as well.
Yes.
So there's so much blood in the world. That's the point I'm trying to make. There's so much blood. Now, if there's so much blood and we have it in us, why it seems paradoxical somewhat that sometimes there could be a scarcity as well, and then we require somebody else to provide it for someone.
Yes, because like I said, if anything in excess or reduced, there's a problem. Okay, so when we keep talking about blood, it could be in excess, it could be reduced. So blood is in everybody. Yes, you have blood, I have blood. But when it is reduced, it will now affect the normalcy of the person. So you will need blood. Okay? It could be an acute complication. That could be a reason acutely. That's what we mean acute, an immediate or a short-term reason why the blood is short. Or it could be something chronically, a patient has been ill for a long time. So over time, it keeps reducing and reducing until the body cannot compensate anymore. So normally the body has a compensatory mechanism. So as it's short, the body sends message to where it's being produced, which is your bone marrow. Oh, the blood in the peripheral system is short. It's short. You need to produce more. So the bone marrow keeps producing. That's why you don't just start saying, transfuse a patient because, the person just had a little bleed or something. Or even for a long time, the person became ill and you don't just immediately start transfusing. The body must have tried to compensate. And when there is now a failure in that compensatory mechanism, then you now require an external source, to sort that problem. However, in the case of like an accident, there's going to be, and then there's a blood spewing, there's going to be an immediate drop in the blood. And the body will try to compensate. It may not be possible, so you need to transfuse. So there must be, when the body can no longer compensate, that's when you now need to transfuse.
How does donated blood save lives? And I'm asking the most, maybe the simplest, for lack of a better choice of word, questions here, and deliberately so, because I need for whoever's watching this right now or listening to fully comprehend, because my blood is my blood.
Okay.
And I perceive that yours is yours as well. And those who are behind the camera here right now as recorders, their blood is theirs. So I need my blood. And they need theirs and you need yours as well. So how does my blood save someone else's life? If my blood is my blood, and like you said, if it's in excess, it's bad. if it's reduced as well, it's bad. So I can assume that my body right now has just the right amount of blood that I need.
Yes.
And it's my blood.
Yes.
My God-given blood.
Yeah, it's your blood, but you have enough.
Okay.
You have enough. And remember, it keeps renewing by the day.
Okay.
You have enough.
Yeah.
So if for any reason you have enough and we say, please just give us small. Just small of that, you're enough.
Yes.
Because as we take it, it gets renewed over time. And then we need it for someone who has a shortage and the body is already failing because it can't compensate. So there is need for you to give that person. You will still be hemodynamically stable. And that's why we can't take more than just 1 unit over a period of time. And that's why we do, you say every 3 months you can donate or every 4 months you can donate. Simply because within that 4 months, we expect that you would have recovered, you would have had new cells, everything has been hemodynamically stable. Okay, so if I get your question.
Yeah, I think you answered me. Yeah. I'm certain that there are misconceptions when it comes to blood donation.
Yeah.
There are even myths as well, and all of that. What are some of the more common ones that you've encountered? And before you answer to that, or in addition to your answer to that, please address this also. You just talked about how there's a maximum limit you can take at any
point in time.
Yes. One pint, you said, right?
1 unit, yes.
Yes. Is that the same as 1 pint?
Yes.
Okay, 1 unit. Pint, yes. Okay, great. Then you have to wait another
3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months. Okay, so what if during that 3 to 4 months, I come down with a condition, because you've taken a unit out of me.
Yes.
So that means I don't have enough.
You have enough.
Oh, I still have enough.
You still have enough.
Oh, okay.
You have enough.
So all the blood in my system minus 1 unit is still enough.
Exactly.
So does it mean I have more than enough right now?
No, you have enough.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you have enough. And then I remember what I said when I started, that as there's a drop, the body compensates for it. So when we even take from you, the body compensates for it.
So why do I need 3 to 4 months then if the body's compensating almost immediately?
No, but no. Of course, it takes time. And then for the red cells, because we can't keep taking and taking, you will now you will now put a lot of pressure on the heart. Okay? Because the heart is pumping. So you're putting a lot of pressure on the heart to pump to meet your requirement or your need. And also the bone marrow is going to start working over time because you're taking more than you should. So why should I give you, I wouldn't want to give you to the point that I will now be in need or obviously hungry. I should be able to give you and be satisfied. So we give you that time because it's expected that there should have been renewal, proper renewal, full renewal or recovery of whatever was given.
Okay, let's talk about some of the misconceptions.
Oh, it's my blood. Why should I give you my blood?
But it is my blood.
Is
it not my blood?
Yes, but you should understand that it's to save life. Another thing is, I don't want to talk. Well, I'll have to say it because most people say, if I give you, they will sell it. It's a misconception.
That doesn't happen?
It doesn't really happen. It doesn't really happen. But
you didn't say it doesn't happen. No, you said it doesn't really happen.
It doesn't happen. Let me. Why I use that word because to you think it's being sold, but what happens is I'm happy we are doing this, and the reason we are doing this is so we can encourage people to donate voluntarily, freely. Maybe so some other persons may understand what we mean by voluntarily means freely. Now, if you donate freely, it's a bank. So you donate and it's put it up in the blood bank. So we'll have enough to give to people that I need. But definitely you must pay for the screening because when we go for donations, we just take the blood. What we check is the blood level okay? Can this person donate? Okay? Because there's a minimum requirement. So if you can donate based on your blood level, we take it. We don't screen for all the infective processes that can occur. But when someone comes to take or is in need of it, the person now pays for that screening. So that's the payment that is being made in the bank. However, because of I don't want to give, I cannot give, I'm not supposed to, I'm not even eating enough, why should I give, and all of that, we hardly have what we call voluntary donors. So what people have around, mostly you have people coming around to say, pay me something so that I can donate. And that's what we have mostly.
So that happens?
Yes. Okay. So that is what they pay for. Whoever is taking the blood pays for. Is the person that is donating and then the screening.
Do we have cases
Yes.
where you have voluntarily donated blood in banks, but unscrupulous medical practitioners still sell this because people are in dire need, and they know that when people are at their lowest, and they can do anything.
Once a blood is voluntarily given, it's tagged voluntary donor or do not sell. There's a tag on it, so you can't sell that unit.
Yeah, but we have a lot of do not sell items that still make it to shelves in shops. It's Nigeria. I'm sorry to say, but it happens.
Yeah, but not for that. No, usually, like in our own area. Let me speak from where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
We have where we keep all the voluntarily donated blood. So it's only meant for indigent patients. Okay, so you cannot, and like I said, you have to pay for the screening.
Okay.
So even if, yes, it's voluntarily given, it will still be paid for the screening, not the blood itself now.
Mm.
And so we want a situation whereby whatever sponsorship we can have, it will be screened and everything is actually freely given. But sometimes when we have really indigent patients, we give out without even allowing them pay for the screening.
So the screening thing you talk about, I want to hear some other misconceptions, but the screening thing. So if I go to donate blood,
yes,
you're saying that no one checks for anything, they just collect it nonetheless. And then at the point where it's to be used, we now check, is this blood suitable or not?
No, that's not how it happens.
Okay.
When you come, we'll check. Like you will follow me today to RSUTH. Yes. So when we get there, we'll check your blood level, which is the HB, okay, the hemoglobin concentration. We check if it is, so usually 38, at least for females, 40 for men and all of that. When we check and you have at least 40, we'll take it from you. Then it is screened by the hospital, okay? And so only those that pass will be kept in the fridge or the blood bank. So what the person is coming to pay for, so it's already screened in the blood bank.
Okay.
That's but it's being paid for, it's the hospital's resources or property that way it's being paid for. Then when you now come, or when we have patients that are in need of it, we'll not give them, but they will pay for that screening. So it's not at the point where where you want to receive the blood that they start screening the blood, unless it's donated immediately for a patient that is waiting to take. So once you donate, it will be screened and then given to the patient if it's passed.
Okay.
If it passes, yeah.
Okay, I'm sure we'll come back to the process again in a moment, maybe in the second half of this conversation.
No problem.
But are there any other misconceptions?
Yes, religious belief. That's one of the other things. Religious belief. Some people just believe that I shouldn't take someone else's blood, but I wouldn't want to go into that because it's a religion, which we all know.
Yeah, but can we speak to the science of it without necessarily impinging on the person's beliefs? I want you to explain the science of it. So a person for religious believes, or is of the notion that I cannot or I should not, for my religious beliefs, give another person my blood or take another person's blood. Whatever is influencing that religious belief, and that's fine. Like you said, people can hold their beliefs. But I want you to explain the science of it. Scientifically speaking, is it okay to receive another person's blood and give blood to someone else?
Of course it is. Okay. Of course it is, because so everybody's blood has an antigen on it, okay? Or almost everybody, for those that are positive. Like when I mean positive, you have the O positive, A positive, and all of that. So whatever makes this blood O, A, B, or whatever, we have A, B, and O. It's the presence of antigens on the red cells. So if you are O and I am O, you are O and I am A. Yes, I don't know if you want me to go into the science of being able to receive from you. Okay, so
that's why we're here.
So if I'm an A person, let me say I'm an A. When I say I have blood group A, it means I have the A antigen on my red cell. Okay, and the way it happens is for any antigen that you don't have, you have the corresponding antibody. So antigen-antibody system is that antibody, it fights an antigen. It fights an antigen. So if I have if I have A antigen on my red cells, it means automatically I'll have antibody against B, against what I don't have. I don't have B. So I have antibody against B. So if you give me someone's blood that has B, the antibody inside of me will fight it and cause a reaction. So if you must give to me, you must give me the same antigen that I have, because my antibody will not fight it, because I have an A antigen and what I have is antibody against B. Okay, that's science. And if you are O, it means you don't have any antigen. That's why we say O is usually a universal donor, because there's no antigen. So there's no antibody in my body or whoever's the other person's body fighting that cell. So if it is safe enough, then I should be able to receive it. Remember, the red cells carry oxygen. So it will help, as you give it to me, it will help to carry out, the required oxygenation that my body needs. All right. So I can take your blood as long as it is safe. Okay. And it can circulate for red cells, they circulate for 120 days before they die off. That's why you see we give that about 3 to 4 months.
So, from a scientific point of view...
Sorry.
Yeah,
and also the red cells, the blood has red cell, white cell, the platelets, and then the plasma. So the red cell is the oxygen carrying part, which makes it red. I mean, everybody knows red cell. But we have the white cell. The white cell is where you have the people that fight infections. That's the neutrophils, the monocytes, the lymphocytes, and all of that. So those ones are, that's part of the blood is what harbors the what fights infection in our body, okay? And then you have the platelet. Platelets is the ones that fight, helps our body to stop bleeding. So if I have a cut, the platelets will just come there and make sure they form a primary plug. So the cut will close or stop, or the bleeding will stop. So platelet is a very important part, is a part of the blood. Then the plasma, you have the proteins, you have clotting factors, which helps, in preventing further bleeding when there's a cut, or that helps to prevent or to stop bleeding by helping our body to clot or makes the blood to clot. So the blood has different roles they play, and that's why we have we are the world has gone to, they've moved from give someone a whole blood, give the person what the person needs or what the person lacks, and that's why we now do component therapy. So I guess maybe there will be time to talk about that.
Okay, all right. So, as I was going to say earlier, and thank you for the addition, scientifically speaking, it is safe to give blood.
It is safe, yes.
And it is safe to receive blood as well. Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
I'm sure that in your experience, you've come across maybe a gazillion examples, but can you give one that stands out for you? One really striking one where blood donation saved a person's life.
Okay, for me, every case is outstanding, because we do it every day. We have need to transfuse practically every day. And for every illness, it's unique in its own way. Okay, like currently, we are transfusing, as I'm speaking to you, there's a patient that is on transfusion for some malignancies that he has. Let's talk about the obstetrics people, because they're the ones that come down with shortage of blood. They need blood immediately. This patient is dying.
That's fine.
Yes, and so I've had to be in the bank one day, and they rushed in. The doctor rushed in. I have this patient who had uterine tear. So in the process of giving birth, most times when they patronize all these quacks or whatever, massage places and all of that, and they try. So she had the prolonged labor, and in the process, tore her uterus. And of course, she was profusely bleeding. And they rushed to me. I was in the bank that day. We didn't even need to say, Where is the money? Where is the payment? Where is this? Okay, because do you have donors? No. At that point, you may not have the time to say, oh, come, bring your family, let me start screening. And because what we need was to immediately transfuse because she was already becoming unstable. So quickly I rushed. Oh, how many? They needed 4 units, 3 units. I rushed and gave it to them. Oh, they will pay. Don't worry, the father will come, the husband will drink till today. But I was happy we saved her life. And that's one thing that each time I think about it, you can't, is it a child that has sickle cell, a hemoglobinopathy or leukemia, and the blood is just crashing. And you are called upon, oh, please, we need this. In fact, it's very common, oh, we need this, because most times they can't really do so much. They can't really, the parents are indigent, you need this, and you give it to them. So I don't know if there's any, there are cases every day. Every case for me is unique. Every case for me is unique, because when they say you have 0.0% occurrence, when it happens to you, it becomes 100% occurrence. So that's why I say for me, every case of anemia, of a need to transfuse, of bleeding or anything. That was a girl too. Okay, that was a girl, a 16-year-old girl. Yeah, she's a school girl that came down with an immune problem, an autoimmune problem. We call it immune thrombocytopenia. All right. So her platelet count is always low. Now the body is producing this, but it's being destroyed in the peripheral system. Okay, the blood is produced in the bone marrow. And so whenever you see us say, oh, we want to do a bone marrow for this patient, because we want to go to the root of where it's being produced to know why there's a shortage or there's an excess or whatever it is. Now, hers is that cases like that, it's being produced, but it's being destroyed when it gets into the circulation. Okay, so she comes down with a platelet count of 8, 10, 15. Meanwhile, the normal one, well, for us in Africa, they will say 100 to maybe 300. But, most people will say 150 to 400. So imagine a patient coming down with 10, 15. That means the patient is prone to bleeding. And you see the patient starts bleeding under the skin. So this her case, we kept on, for herself, we didn't even really transfuse, because they will say when you transfuse, it worsens it. So there were other measures that we use. I won't want to talk about it because, but sometimes you might have to go and transfuse. Okay, so sometimes you're also in a dilemma. It's dropping. The red cell count is dropping. Everything is dropping. You need to transfuse. There's some patients that have aplastic anemia. None of the blood everything is being peripherally destroyed. Everything, in fact, the bone marrow is not even producing at all. So there are cases, leukemias, I don't even know which one to mention. So, but for us, every case, like I said, is peculiar.
All right.
Okay, yes. But I will never forget the woman that they rushed in and they took 4 units and never came back to replace. But she survived.
Well, that's the good news at the end of that story.
Yes, she survived,
So,
yes.
It is canvassed the Niger-Delta Roundtable in commemoration of World Blood Donor Day. And this episode we're discussing Give Blood, Save Lives with my guest. We'll go for a break. We'll return in a moment. The conversation will continue. Please stay with us.
In the heart of our journey, where the sun touches the earth and the wind whispers through the trees, a new chapter unfolds. A chapter where energy illuminates more than just bulbs. It lights up minds. A chapter of unity, a coming together with a common goal to energize futures and illuminating lives. In classrooms, young dreams evolve, inspired by the promise of a brighter tomorrow fueled by available energy. Small businesses flourish, becoming seeds of prosperity. Energy that empowers and is catalyst for growth and change. The future is energy. So, let's light up the path to a sustainable future together. Energy for you, me, and the world at large.
Energy for people and planet. For people and planet.
and planet. We are Renaissance.
Welcome back to Canvas Niger-Delta Roundtable. I'm Dio. Conversation continues with my guest, Dr. Linda Anucha Dublin-Green. Doctor, welcome again.
Thank you so much.
In commemoration of World Blood Donor Day, we're discussing Give Blood, Save Lives. Doc, do we have a blood supply challenge? Are there disparities peculiar to certain locations or regions or climes, as it were?
Yes, actually, policies matter. Okay, so the variations can come from the policies of that country. So, but in general, of course, there's always they have discrepancies. In the Western world, there's a way they run. I think they do first in, first out. So you donate, but I'll come back to us here. People usually don't come to donate voluntarily. That's the problem we have. For some reasons, well, they will say, I never chop. You say, make I can't donate blood. That's another problem. People are hungry, so they don't want to come. So we have significant shortage. I'm just trying to use the right word. Because most people are not motivated to come and donate. Some people don't even know the reason why they have to donate. Some people feel they have to be paid to donate. Some people will want to say, oh, I'll wait till there's need, maybe my family replacement, because that's what they call family replacement. Or what if there was a patient I saw, he donated a week before, only for him to now have a reason to donate for his own father. But I told him, I'm sorry, you just donated, you can't donate. So some people want to say, oh, let me leave it that bag when there's always a need in my family, then I can come out. So there are reasons why people don't want to donate. So it makes us have shortage. And sometimes they will say, oh, the one that they used, why didn't they donated, they didn't use it. Why did they keep it? They should use that one. It doesn't work that way. So there's actually significant shortage of blood in our own environment.
Who can collect blood?
A trained medical person, okay? A phlebotomist, a medical laboratory scientist, a doctor, that is trained should be able to take blood.
And where can blood be collected?
In a hospital.
Strictly?
Yes, for some reasons, because there could be hemodynamic instability. So someone that was normal, it happens. In fact, the last donation we had, it happened after collecting, the person slumped. So you need a facility where you can resuscitate the patient, a donor.
When you say the hospital strictly, do you have situations where there's a blood drive?
Okay, well, like a blood drive, exactly. Right, so I should paraphrase. Okay, but in times like this or on a day like this, yes, you can have it because you have trained personnel there, you have doctors there, you have your first aid kits there. So there's something to resuscitate a patient just in case the patient runs into the donor. Sorry, I'm so used to patients. The donor runs into crisis, but it's usually advisable to do it in a hospital.
Okay.
But we can do it when we go for blood drives. We can do it. We've done it in schools. But like I said, you must have this personnel around just in case there's a problem. So you cannot just see somebody in one small house and they say you're donating blood. No.
Basically a controlled environment.
Yes, exactly.
With knowledgeable, experienced
yes,
medical personnel.
Yes, exactly.
It's not just see somebody at orderly roundabout and say,
you want to donate? No.
Come and give blood.
No.
Okay.
No, yes.
So what are the basic requirements of donating blood?
Okay, is it for the donor?
For the donor.
Donor requirements.
Exactly.
Okay. So first of all, it has to be healthy. Healthy. You shouldn't have hypertension. Shouldn't be diabetic. Okay. The age, at least 18 years to about, let's say 6 years. Okay. No recent immunization. No tattoos on the body, no piercings, no
piercings?
Yes,
Including
those piercings, all those
earrings?
No, not first, not earrings.
But those are piercings.
Piercings, like, you can have piercings at odd areas,
How is this different from most other parts of the body?
Well, and this is an external, will I call it part of the body? It's external.
Okay.
Okay, it doesn't have anything. Even if I pierce it, you can see it now. There's no continuation.
Okay. How about the nose? It's kind of external also. If I'm going to go by that logic.
Well, it's contraindicated.
Okay.
It's contraindicated, yes. And then someone that has recently donated, like, it has to be at least 3 months apart. You shouldn't be smoking.
At all?
No, you shouldn't be smoking. I don't know how to say it, but
okay, you shouldn't be smoking.
You shouldn't be smoking because it has a way of increasing the red cell count, and so the person may not really actually have enough, but it will appear that the person has enough.
Okay.
So, even of course, you shouldn't be positive for hepatitis, HIV, those viral hepatitis C, B. Syphilis and all of that. Those are the things we screen before we can say this blood is safe.
Okay, I know we touched on this earlier on, somewhat, or you touched on it earlier on the first half of this conversation.
Okay.
But can you maybe just elaborate this a bit more, or be more specific, if I may say? Take us through the process from a hospital perspective, the process of donating blood to using donated blood. Okay. So it's like, I like to think of it as a production line.
Yes.
So you have, in the production line, you have when raw material comes in.
Okay.
Something happens to the raw material. It goes through certain processes, it becomes finished goods. But of course, economics or economists will tell us that the production is not completed until it gets to the end user.
Yes.
So from the finished good, it travels through another process to get to the shelves and pots and pans of people in their homes.
Yes.
So take us to that production line of managing blood.
Okay. Now, so in a hospital setting,
yes,
it's expected that there's a blood bank. I mean, the blood bank, you have the blood bank fridge where it's being stored at the right temperature. You also have the component separator, which if you don't want to, before storage, you can't separate. I'm trying to tell you about our raw materials now. Our machines. Then that's like in the River State University Teaching Hospital. You also have the screening kits where we screen for the infections I mentioned, then the blood bag, of course, the needles, syringes, and all of that, okay? So now a patient a donor comes. Sorry, pardon me. A donor comes, I want to voluntarily donate. You are given a form, the donor form, where you fill, and we're sure we get your biodata and then ask you the questions, eligibility. And then if you meet up the eligibility criteria, okay, we go ahead and screen for your HB, or packed cell volume. That is your blood level. Let me put it in layman's term, your blood level. Because we cannot bleed someone that needs blood, So it must be a certain level, like 38 and above. Okay, and if you have 60 or 70 beyond the normal, we don't want to bleed because that means there's a problem. And so that blood is not healthy. Okay, so there's a limit. All right, so at least 14 grams per DL for males, and then women 13 or 12.5 per DL for females. So when we have screened you of that, when you have been screened of your blood level has been checked, if you meet the criteria, or if you pass, we'll go ahead and take the sample. Now, except you have a patient already that needs to receive it. If you don't have, we might not need to do a cross match. But we do the screening, and then after you take that, when you have collected the blood because the PCV is okay, you now go further to do the blood group. You want to know the blood group of this patient, so you know who to give it to. So when you you do your blood grouping, if it's A or B, whichever one it is, you now go ahead and do the screening for the infectious diseases. That's HIV 1 and 2, But in this our area, that's what we do: HIV 1 and 2, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, okay, and then VDRL. That's syphilis. If the patient passes, or the donor, passes all of that, then you can go ahead and bleed the donor. Now, when you have bled the donor, that means this blood is safe. It's called whole blood. Before now, the practice is, the whole blood, you just put it in the fridge. And then if you have, when you now have need for the use, the patient, let me finish that process. Okay, so you have donated, and then there's a patient that needs the blood. You will now take that patient's blood, the patient, and check the patient's blood group. Because remember, it's safe blood we want to give. So both blood must be compactable. The recipient and the
donor.
The donor and the recipient. So you check the patient's blood group. And then also you must screen the patient for those infections too. Because people can come back tomorrow and say, I was negative before. Because of the blood transfusion I received, I'm now positive. So you must screen the patient before giving blood. So when the patient has been screened as well, you now cross-match, what we call cross-match, and check, and be sure that at different levels in the body, inside the body, room normal temperature, there won't be any reaction. Yes, they may be compactable in terms of the, I'm A, you are A, but there could be other hidden antibodies that can fight when you give it to them. So you do that cross-match. After the cross-match, if there's no reaction, it means that blood is safe and for the recipient. So if they need it immediately, there's a medical personnel that comes and picks up that unit of blood and is being transfused to the patient. Now, then we also have the hemovigilance form, which is you report any case of any blood transfusion reaction, which could be acute or long-term or chronic, as the case may be. So that's how it goes from the donor down to the recipient. And it's transfused, of course, under a medical personnel watch. That is either the doctor and the nurses. Okay. So, and it's expected that within 2 to 3 hours, you should have finished your transfusion. So it's not even good that you hang blood and it stays for 6 hours. No. It should be within 2 to 3 hours you finish your transfusion. But now, what is practiced, or what we practice now is what we call component therapy. So, like I told you earlier on in this conversation, we have the red cell, we have the white cell, we have the platelet, and we have plasma. So what we do now is, when we get this unit of blood, we now fractionate it. We put it into the machine. The machine separates this different into 3 components. So with one blood before now, you save 1 person. But now, with one blood, you can save 3 persons. So if I fractionate it, for anyone that has anemia, I give the person just the red cell. That's what the person needs. Because the white cell is apparently normal, the platelet is normal. Now, for someone that needs platelets, okay, when you need platelets, we give you just the platelets. Platelets is the one I told you helps for clotting to prevent bleeding. All right. And then when you need, sometimes you're in the theater, like it's very common, like with surgeries or during these obstetrics people, I like calling them because they know how to harass us with blood. And the patient is bleeding profusely, bleeding from puncture sites and everywhere. The other one, which is the plasma that has the proteins and the clotting factors, that's what you give to the donor, to the patient. So 1 unit, you can give 3 persons 1 unit. And so that's what is practiced now.
Mm. And do you always carry out the fraction thing for every blood donated now?
Well, for this one, that is, we try to encourage fractionation. But sometimes, it's a system that people are trying to imbibe, So I won't say all the blood in our bank is fractionated. Okay, we have the ones that are whole. If I give most people say I gave my whole blood now, so I wanted to give my whole blood to my relative or something. So we have that one too. And we can only fractionate when it is freshly donated. So if it's not freshly donated, we can't fractionate it. There won't be any point fractionating.
I mean, there are many components also to this conversation we're having right now.
Okay.
The word blood donor day, but I think at the heart of it is getting people to understand the importance of donating blood.
Yes.
So that said, and I'm sure we've already touched on it already.
Okay.
But I want you to re-emphasize, if you will.
Yes.
Why is it so critical? Why is it so important that we have a large number of voluntary blood donors?
Thank you very much for this, because that's what we've been clamoring, we've been preaching, we've been trying to talk people into buying the idea of voluntarily donating. If we have a lot of blood in the bank, then it is available for the end user. Okay? If you come and voluntarily donate, it's a bank now. Is there any time money finishes in the bank? No. There should always be blood in the bank. So if people come to donate, then there will be blood for anybody or everybody.
Money, cash finishes in ATMs.
It's not a bank. ATM machine can be anywhere, but the bank refills it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what happens to us right now. You can get to the bank now, you don't have blood.
Okay.
Because people just keep withdrawing. Nobody's putting in. So thank you for even bringing ATM to this. Nobody puts in. But inside the banking hall, as people are putting, people are taking, as people are putting. That's how it should be. That's why it's called a bank. But people don't want to. We are begging people to donate. We are begging people. I'm using this medium to beg people to donate. We don't sell blood. People. I'm sure if it's a live program, you would have heard. Each time I go to talk about this, it is not the first time I go. They will bombard me. You people sell blood. We try to explain to them we don't sell blood. The problem is we do not have voluntarily donated blood. And so when there's no voluntarily donated blood, where do we get the blood from? So remember that when you give blood, you are saving lives. This time around, not just one person. You are saving 3 persons. So I'm using this medium to also preach and to tell us that when you donate, you are saving 1, 2, and 3. So you're giving hope to 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, even you feel fulfilled that you have saved somebody. Everything is not about money. Sometimes you can give things that are way far more valuable than even money. So I'm begging you too, Uncle Dayo, that you can come and donate. Please. It will be used judiciously. Let me tell you from my experience, people will say, I don't want to donate because it will be sold. You said it earlier on. But that's a misconception. I will say it again and I will reiterate it. That what you pay for is the screening. Unless Dayo is telling me now that they are going to provide screening kits for free and everything, then we'll give it to you free. But if the hospital is screening and providing, screening kits and everything, then that is the service charge. That's what we call it, service charge. That's what it's paid for. So that we can buy again and revolve and revolve.
But if I may say,
yes,
especially for public health facilities such as yours,
yes,
I would think that screening should be one of the things that is heavily subsidized or paid for by government, so that because of the importance of blood, as you've emphasized repeatedly here, we should be able to give it to people for free, absolutely free, without even having to pay. Just my thoughts.
Yes.
My 2 cents.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, the system runs, I don't know whether I would say it runs system, but to an extent.
That's not a question, actually.
Yes,
That's
your thought. And that would have been nice. I think we still, excuse me, I think it's still subsidized in a way. I think it's still subsidized.
No, I think it should be absolutely free. Especially for donated. Especially for voluntarily donated blood. I think that government, once again, especially for public health institutions, I think for government should ensure that even the screening is paid for fully by government because of the criticalness, the importance of this. So nobody says for whatever reason they couldn't get blood, especially when it's available.
Thank you. So, but one thing you have to understand is even when we get 50 units of blood today, people know they did a blood drive. People come in, we need blood. Remember I said, sometimes we have to give this blood free.
Yeah, of course, you did say that. Yes. I remember, yes.
Sometimes, I can bet you, by the time you're coming on Tuesday, that blood will be remaining 10.
That's why we need more voluntary donors.
Yeah. So, and then if I can donate, or family, if you have replacement, even if it's your A, I'm O, and you need blood, I can, and you can donate A, and maybe your patient needs O, and I have O in the bank. I will give it to you and just say replace it and keep it, so that it's just always there.
Yeah, but with the system right now, being operated, even if we have sufficient voluntary donors, patients will still have to pay for screening.
No, I'm sure when we have a lot, well, but it's bots now. So how do you want us to?
That's what I'm saying. Which
wish
is where the government thing comes in. So I'm saying government. You mentioned policy earlier.
Yes, exactly.
When we're discussing the global trend.
Yes.
So government indigenous to us in River State, in Niger-Delta, and even in Nigeria can formulate policies where government says, you know what, we'll pay for the screening.
I agree.
So it's absolutely free for everyone.
We'll be very glad. We'll be very glad. Yes, I agree with you.
So for someone who would like to donate, I'm sure somebody who's watched this or is watching and listening right now, at least one person is thinking, you know what, I have to go donate.
Yes.
What should they do? How can they do that?
You just come into the hospital, walk straight to the blood bank.
Any hospital?
Any hospital.
Private, public?
Any hospital, but I'm asking that you should come to us in River State University Teaching Hospital.
Okay.
Yes, if you come to the teaching hospital, you just come straight to the Department of Haematology, precisely the blood bank, and tell them you want to voluntarily donate. We have people that come. In fact, we have people that even when they can't donate, they will say, please, I can give you something. If you know someone that can donate, give the person, appreciate the person for me. We've had people that have come like that. Presently, I think NOMS, is in NOMS, there's a group, NOMS Men or something. NOMS Men, yeah. They are right now, they are voluntarily donating in RSUTH as I speak. Even Rotary, sometimes they come, I'm sure they will be there today. And even our students, people come to donate actually. And like for now, what we do is we keep it for indigent patients. Indigent patients, I mean people that cannot really, really afford it. And sometimes you have someone being in need of 6 units, 3 units, 4 units. And the person has been able to say, oh, I can pay for 2, I can, the screening, or I can provide 2. You can just say, oh, okay, this person has provided 2. Maybe by means of family replacement or the person brought a donor. You can say, okay, I'll give you the 3rd one, just because you understand that it's not so easy to even get donors these days. So you can just walk into the facility and tell them you want to donate blood. Freely, please. Tell them it's freely. And then we will give you a certificate because sometimes you need the certificate to show that. And one more thing. When you're a regular donor, you have your blood freely checked. Remember, if I do your PCV and then, okay, I didn't even mention to you, when we do this screening and there's, when they donate, they drop their numbers. So when we do this screening, if there's anything, an issue with the blood, any form of anything, we'll call your attention to it. Oh, you need to do further evaluation. Oh, you need to do this. So it's a way of an incentive. So when you keep donating every 3 months, then it means that you're free. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I know
so you're free, yes.
I think my final question, let me repeat that.
Okay.
I think my final question to you will be, or maybe it's more a statement. What would you like to say to someone who's never donated blood before, who's watching this, who's listening right now? What's a message to that person?
For you that is watching right now, I want to make this passionate appeal. If you're within the age range of 18 to 60 years and you do not have any health challenge, any chronic illness, and you miss my requirement, like I mentioned earlier, I want to make an appeal that you come and donate. You are a hero. Remember, you are saving lives, not just a life. So my message is, we need you. The society needs you. Someone is dying and someone needs your blood to stay alive. So, and it's a blessing and it's a gift. So I want to beg you, I want to appeal that you come and give us your precious blood so we can use it to save a life or the lives of people who are in need.
Thank you very much.
Remember, it's a service to humanity and nobody goes unrewarded.
Thank you, Doc. I don't think it could have been said better. On that note, we wrap up this episode of Canvas to Niger-Delta Roundtable in commemoration of World Blood Donor Day. We've discussed the topic, Give Blood, Save Lives. My guest is a hematologist, Dr. Linda Anucha Dublin-Green.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
And the great work that you and your team are doing as well.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Canvas and Niger-Delta Roundtable.
On Renaissance.
Renaissance.
And NNPC.
And NNPC and Total. I saw a lot of...
Ajit, yeah.
Yes, and RSUTH, because RSUTH is here. And RSU, because those are the institutions I represent. Thank you, everyone, for putting up this great show. And I look forward to having another section or time with you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm Adedayo Lushak. Remember, go out there, donate blood today, and save lives. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Thank you.